Oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one.
By the looks of it, I got some goddamn American patriots in here. What's up, bros? Hope you're great. Yeah, we won the election. That's fucking significant, man. Trump is your president. I know a lot of people are probably upset about that. There's this, well, a couple people that I talked to recently that I knew were voting for Kamala Harris. One is a bartender and male. The other, who the fuck else recently? Oh yeah, another dude, surprisingly. That I know from this other place that I go to, who, you know, I've been having conversations with me and this other guy who were, you know, pro-Trump people. Were talking to this guy who's a pro-Kamala person, Trump hater. And, you know, the one thing I had to say to them after the election was, hey, look, I'm sorry your candidate didn't win. I know that's fucking devastating. If my favorite UFC fighter loses, you know, I'm fucking devastated for the whole next day. I don't want to watch the post-fight press conference. It's just a pain in the ass. So imagine these people so super wound up from the press, you know, to hate Trump based on shit that was completely taken out of context. And also like how, you know, the Democrat Party kind of weaponizes the media and has been for so long to attack their opponent. They really wind these people up. And so these folks are fucking devastated. So, you know, it is, while it is never good to see people in an unhappy state, the state that a lot of these folks are in is as a result of the skewed information that they've accepted into their brains, you know, the programming effectively they allowed to happen. So pretty significant fucking sweep. You know, we've got the Senate, we'll most likely have the House. And, you know, I think what's really relevant here. So great, Trump wins. And I'm happy that we have some fucking patriots in here. RFK, though, okay, relative to us, one of the things that he actually uttered in words was the reversal of the ban on peptides. Okay, the reversal of the ban on peptides. So for sure, if you hate Trump, which I'm sure a lot of you don't, but perhaps some of you do, peptides that couldn't be prescribed from your prescribing doctor or your TRT clinic via an FDA ban, I mean, that's going to get an overhaul, and probably there'll be a lot more availability of those things. So, yeah, I stayed up basically all night until 1 a.m. or so. Once we won North Carolina, once Georgia was pretty set in stone and PA was trending significantly in the right direction, and then we started looking at the turnout, you know, Latinos, black men, men in general, versus years prior versus 2020, as well as how Kamala was underperforming Biden and Trump was overperforming his 2020 self, I knew it was fucking over. I knew it was over at probably 10 p.m. or so. I was posting on social media, okay, like it's fucking over. Like, let's call the races. Let's call them. It's over. And yeah, so we got our fucking country back, man. I was censored off the internet years back in an unrelated business from discussing politics on the web. You know, I mean, there's one party that's been censoring speech and that has been anti-American, and it's been the Democrat Party. So for me, this is just a huge fucking win. As a combat veteran that fought for people's right to talk and do whatever they do, this is a huge fucking win. So I'm happy with the outcome, and I hope you guys are too. All right, let's talk about Proviron real quick. Listen, you know, the most recent video about the power of Proviron should not be understated. I am certain at this point that Proviron modifies androgen receptor binding domains in a positive way, which facilitates androgen responsive genes responsiveness to androgens after receptor binding. This, I think, has the ability to repair an insensitivity syndromes that people may have in response to exogenous testosterone, because that does seem to be a thing, you know, for certain, I would say sexual function deranged individuals. And Proviron is one of those things that really has the power to resolve that. I've been on various doses of testosterone over the last 4 months, mostly cycle level doses of testosterone, recently transitioning from 7 pumps of cream a day back to an enanthate cycle of 100 milligrams a day, pushing it a little higher. So that's an update for you folks. In that, I am running 25 milligrams of Proviron a day, right, for estrogen control mainly, but also to optimize and utilize more of that testosterone. That's another thing that Proviron does. I mean, you're going to effectively use more of your testosterone, right? You'll get a better effect from the test that you have, which is useful. Also, testicular optimization, ejaculatory optimization, all these sorts of things. So I really love Proviron. I'm happy I'm back on it. We'll see what it starts doing to my hair. So far, so good. Been about a week on 100 milligrams a day of test enanthate, just injected intramuscular in the morning. And I don't know if that's permanent. I'm just in between shit right now and playing with stuff, and love how I feel, obviously. Don't know yet on anabolism. It's probably too little to tell at this point, or too short to tell, whatever. It's been a week since I've been injecting this much, but yeah, feel good. No sleep problems. Everything's great. And I guess that's it. Let's get to questions. So yeah, it looks like a lot of you guys are patriots. I'm very happy to fucking see that. Biden needs some test prop. I don't think there was any saving Joe Biden. You know, I don't. But they were in a perplexing situation, right? Because it's like, okay, get rid of Biden. That's going to fuck things up. It did. You know, how many Americans were like, okay, so he circumvented the entire primary process to just like install some person. So that didn't help them. But at the same time, you know, Biden was very obviously cognitively, you know, not in a great place. So maybe test prop would help. Welcome back. So Twerk for Work is asking to boost androgen receptors. The best way, so what you mean here, or what I think you mean, is to increase the amount of androgen receptors. And the way to do that would be to inject a lot of testosterone. Yeah. They just inject testosterone. That's going to increase ARs. You're going to, by demand, increase the amount of androgen receptors you have to work with over time, unknown period of time, by just injecting testosterone. Now, if you want to optimize androgen receptors, that's a completely different story. And I think there's 2 things you would want to optimize. It would be androgen receptor density, which you could do with a compound called L-carnitine L-tartrate. And then the most advanced way that I've discovered to optimize androgen receptors would be to fix mutations in the binding domains. There's 3 binding domains on the AR that control the androgen receptor's ability to exhibit, to affect gene expression, to affect genes, androgen responsive genes. Proviron is the only compound that I know of that has the ability to do that. Yeah, proven in the literature. So those would be your answers, man. Zayed, hey bro, is it possible to experience anxiety when using nasal spray CMAX? Sure, certainly. Says CMAX can reduce anxiety, but seems to make me overstimulated and gives me anxiety. If I remember correctly, CMAX is a pretty dopaminergic peptide. So yes, you know, I mean, if that's having some sort of spillover or otherwise effect on the other catecholamines, then you would get anxiety from that. So I think that that's probably your safest bet. Whether or not people say that it's for anxiety, if you notice that you get anxiety acutely upon dosing it, it is causing you anxiety, and you got to do something about that. Source list, guys, live at livecortex.com. A recent update was pushed to source list. One of the vendors effectively changed how you order from them. And so if you purchased it, if you log into livecortex.com/my-account, you can have access to your downloads. You have unlimited downloads of it. Each time it updates forever, you'll have access to it. Or you could go back to the email that was sent to you and download it again that way. But yeah, one vendor was updated recently with how they are accepting products. It basically changed from email them with Proton Mail to a simple add to cart system. I'm not sure why. For a brief period, you had to email the guy. Okay, dream big, brother. Let me move this source list. That's a little big. Source list, brethrens. Would it be safe or okay to take 15 milligrams of 9-methyl-beta-carboline AM and pick a Miller lemon balm at night? Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Yeah, I think you wouldn't run into any weird problems. I mean, that's, lemon balm is a relatively innocuous compound. I think it's inhibiting GABA transaminase, which ultimately works to break GABA down. So as a result, you keep GABA around longer. And Picamil will just give you more GABA. Yeah, and in a better way than any GABA supplement you'll ever touch. So I don't see them interacting negatively. I see it just fine. I can't really predict what's going to happen though. I mean, you might have some dopaminergic stuff and some GABAergic stuff. GABAergic stuff might be inhibiting some of the dopamine stuff. So not something I would do without a whole lot of research, and not because it's unsafe, because I wouldn't want to be countering the effect of the 9-MeBC. Proud American dude on test for 4 years. Libido was only there in the beginning. Yeah, this is a classic story. You probably shut down intratesticularly and you didn't get on HCG. Alternatively, estradiol went a little too high. Alternatively, you need higher levels of testosterone than you did initially. Your body liked it initially, and then you kind of reached some homeostasis, and now you need to raise your dose. You need to get a higher dose of testosterone in there. If you had come on testosterone with sexual dysfunction, then you probably need to work on that, because tests won't always fix that, because if it's an androgen receptor problem induced by androgen deprivation over a long period of time, you'll need to do some actual work on that. But there's a fucking variety of reasons for this. And another one is that you're deficient in some other hormones, namely DHEA, pregnenolone, and the hormones that they go and build. So TRT itself isn't hormone replacement. It's just testosterone replacement. There's fucking loads of other hormones that are necessary, both as that you make in response to LH, as well as metabolite wise, that you need to get straight. Otherwise you're not going to have libido. Again, I have to change the ancillary compounds, the doses specifically. I got to change estrogen control. Sometimes I have to add Proviron. When I change doses of testosterone from a cycle to a cycle, like I just went from 420 a week to 700, but I still have libido, right? Because it's a matter of all of these things, getting all of these things straight. And sometimes that takes a while. Like get as much education as you can from channels like this and channels like Vigorous Steve's channel and Dave Lee's channel on YouTube. And then it's about experimenting, running labs, and knowing yourself, knowing what you need to do next. Jeff, what causes you to take a long time to finish during sex? So yeah, that is that's called a delayed ejaculation, and there's many things that cause that. First of which would be elevated prolactin. That will 100% cause you to be almost impossible, if not impossible, to climax. It's like via blocking dopaminergic action in the brain, probably among some other mechanisms. I think that prolactin receptors, when activated excessively, have a detrimental effect on penile tissue. So whether that's nitric oxide or some other mechanism, I really don't know, because it's not been studied enough. So that's one thing. Estradiol, I know this personally with clients and myself. If my estrogen goes above range, and I'll still feel fine, I don't really have side effects these days from high estrogen, aside from erections start to get a little wacky, but specifically it's harder to climax. You know, I have to like think more or focus more. That's my cue. Estrogen's a little too fucking high. So that could be one reason. Another documented reason for this is hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism. Yeah. And the reverse is true. Hyperthyroidism causes premature ejaculation. So those are things you want to look at. I guess lastly, an excess in serotonin will cause this as well. So probably got to look at what the hell's happening, what drugs you've taken in the past, and try to, go from there. AB, methacholine cyproheptadine helpful in addition to test DHT for sexual dysfunction? No. Yeah, no. I mean, they can induce windows, cyproheptadine specifically, but they're not going to cure anything. Proud American, if you got the budget, hire me for this. There's just too many moving parts, and I will need 3 to 6 months with you to fix it, but we'll fix it. Dream big. I feel better on Test C 70 milligrams twice a week than 140 milligrams Test C once per week. Tired and fatigued. What might this be? Better estrogen control. Yeah, see, estrogen can make you tired and fatigued, but I don't think that's it. There's been some speculation that this androgen-induced fatigue is related to hematocrit, which I don't believe is true either. But the probably the most probable answer to your problem here is that you're experiencing a degree of test flu. That's the most probable answer. Yeah, that you're experiencing some degree of test flu, which is probably a metabolite of testosterone called etiolcolanolone that comes from testosterone, that it's immunogenic, and your immune system responds in a way like it seems like it's under some sort of viral attack. That goes away after continued use of higher doses of testosterone. I had test flu at 560 of test enanthate. I had to go back down, switch the ester, then move back up to enanthate at 560, and I was fine. I'm now running 700 a week of testosterone enanthate, and I don't have test flu. So there's a way to get around it, and that's probably what it is. You've got to either stick this out for the next 2 weeks, stick that 140 out consistently, and it would go away, but you'd feel like shit in the meantime. Or you might have to figure out what in your lifestyle is causing you to negatively respond. Like maybe it is some sort of blood pressure problem or hematocrit problem, in which case, I don't know if you smoke or drink, you probably got to dial those things back, stop eating fucking processed foods. The craziest shit happens when you don't eat processed foods. Like I'll notice, this is just, and I'm not saying you do, I just want to inform people on this. At this point, it's a little colder out. I'm not running outside, but I am running at the gym on the treadmill every day. 15 to 20 minutes doing sprints and then taking a break, just running at a lower pace and doing sprints again. If I eat, like last week I cheated and I got 2 double bacon cheeseburgers from Five Guys. Oh, they were fucking incredible. But like for 2 days, my lower back and my right calf hurt a little bit when I was running. Like it's an inflammatory response from shitty fucking food. So long-winded way of saying you need to look at everything to figure out what the major offender here is and get it the fuck out of your regimen if it's something that's messing with you in terms of an inflammatory response. And also it could be test flu. Joe, 300 milligrams Cypionate, 1 bolus pen, DHEA 25, pregnenolone 10. Started HCG 250 IU every other day. Makes me anxious and sensitive nipples. The HCG does. Advice dialing an E2 and locking in my libido. Well, at this stage, you do not have estrogen control here. I would wager that your problem is that if you did nothing for 2 months, this would probably resolve, especially the sensitive nipple issue. However, if you're just prone to fucking gyno or gyno-like stuff that's happening, and just the activation of those tissues, which may not develop into gyno, I don't want to fucking scare you. I had itchy nipples at various points, that just went away over time, and I did not develop gyno. But yeah, estrogen is almost definitely the issue here. If you have aromasin on hand, your best bet is to start at 3.125 once a week. Run that for 3-4 weeks, see how you fare. See if that, fixes the problem and gets libido locked in. You don't want to go too high on that shit because, then you're probably about 6 to 7 days crashed or at lower levels than you like to be, and there's nothing you can do about it. So start there, move up to 6.25 a week if you have to, ultimately up to 12.5 once a week, ultimately 12.5 twice a week if you absolutely need to. Will I ever make Prima Bomb content? Sure. Yeah, there's a lot I know about it already. I use it a lot with clients, interestingly, for estrogen control. And, you know, I've got some clients that I'm helping through cycles to do it healthfully. But, you know, I personally have used it. I can count on my hands. I've used it like 4 or 5 times. I fucking loved it. My physique transformed in a week using it. Like, it just, that week I was like godly. My shit was rounder. I was bigger. I looked fucking sculpted. It was really weird, and I didn't change anything else. The testos was the same. But for me, it knocks my E2 down a lot. You know, Primo knocks my estrogen down a fucking lot, dude. And I'm sensitive to that, especially on high levels of test. I don't aromatize a lot. I aromatize, but just not a ton. So I will in the future. Miko Biz with the RSD 250 test is 1500 E268, 12 milligrams per Proviron every day. What is limp? Barely erection. Why? Well, that's your estrogen at 68, almost definitely. Yeah. What I would do is simply take the Proviron to 25 milligrams a day and add 25 milligrams of zinc. Okay. If you don't want to take a full blown AI, do those 2 things. You'll have more estrogen control for you via both of those compounds. And that's probably going to fix your erection issue. Yeah, I would say that is almost definitely going to fix your erection issue. At the same time, are you on DHEA pregnenolone? Are you not? See, like if you're going to super chat, like whatever this ends up being like, but don't want to type out the whole thing, you're wasting your own time. You're wasting your time and your money. Chris Darty, does raw DHT powder orally have any liver toxicity problems? Not that I know of. I you know, have I tested liver enzymes? No, not since before cycle. Or no, after the first month of the cycle, everything was fucking straight. I'm due to do all that stuff soon, but I've been running DHT powder for 2.5 months or something. Yeah, I mean, no liver pain, no problems otherwise, no jaundicing, no, none of that. So if I were to answer it without looking at my own labs, I don't think so. Especially in reasonable doses. AB, transdermal or oral DHT in your opinion? What do you notice if you overdo the dose? Well, transdermal DHT is more likely to just go locally than systemically. This is what I found. So rubbing Andractum on the shaft, it really just kind of does some androgen receptor activation in the penis, and then some goes systemic. But if you take oral DHT, it just goes systemic first, and then your body decides how to divvy it thereafter. That I think is the difference, which will translate to different results in the end tissues. Overdoing the dose that I noticed on 200 milligrams was low estrogen side effects for, like 3/4 of the day, and then they went away. Yeah, I had like some neck pain, like just indicative of estradiol, low estrogen induced or estrogen inhibition induced kind of arthralgia or temporary transient joint pain. That's what I noticed with a lot of DHT, but I don't need those high doses. But it was fucking great for the sexual system, I'll tell you that much. I mean, just blasting loads, just fucking shooting ropes, man. And extremely sensitive and crazy climaxes. Ferenc, PFS case, would Botox be beneficial for shrinkage? You mean Botox? I don't think so. I don't think sustainably, at least. On 250 tests, 100 of Primo, 250 IU-HCG every other day, 5 milligrams Cialis, EQ is better, of course, but the shrinkage is still there. Nocturnal erections are not that frequent. Well, at least they're getting there. I would say stick with what you're doing and give it time. Probably take that to tadalafil dose up to 10 milligrams a day. That alone, you'll probably have better nocturnal erections. But if you're worried about shrinkage, then you need to take more Cialis so you have constant blood flow in there, and you need to penis pump. Get yourself a cheap Amazon manual hand pump with an actual gauge. Pump 10 to 15 minutes at probably 70-80% erection. Do that for 15 minutes twice a day. Once a day will help, but twice a day is better. I know it's cumbersome to do that, but those are the kind of things that will help you get your fucking size back, no question. Odie, I reduced a lot of my problems by just adding more electrolytes into my diet. Do not listen to the no salt BS. Hell yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, if you're a sedentary asshole and you don't exercise and you eat like shit, then salt is probably not your friend in excess amounts. But I mean, I run every fucking day and go to the gym every day, eat real food most of the time, don't smoke, drink a little bit now these days. Like, I need salt. If I skimp on salt, I will fucking not feel good. I just won't feel like myself. So hell yeah. hell yeah, get the salt in. But again, it's all situationally specific. Farring has some Proviron and DHT powder on hand from the source list. Beautiful, brother. That was the whole point of it, man. That was the whole point of the value of that. You know how much that's going to change your life if you really fucking need it? Awesome. I'm glad, bro. Christopher was prescribed. Thanks for the super chat, brother. 2% cream. Been feeling like crap. Doc wants to wait to do labs. I don't have a month to feel like crap. Can you recommend a clinic that will start me off on a proper dose? Yeah, listen, you can go to Defy Medical, DEFY Medical. Now, recently they have cream, which is good, but recently they have a shortage on testosterone propionate, and they didn't tell any customers about that. You know, they also fucked up a couple things, you know, with the stuff that I order. So I'll announce this at some other point, but I left Defy. I left Defy after years and years of promoting them because they fucked up. You know, they just fucked up. I'm also on levels of testosterone that, you know, ultimately they won't be able to sustain. And so, excuse me, I'm going, you know, pharmaceutical grade UGL at this point, you know, and then if I've ever have to get back with a clinic, I'm going to just try a new clinic that I haven't tried. Defy fucked up. But, you know, Defy has good cream and they haven't really fucked up with cream. So, you know, you'd be good there. Another company that has 150 milligrams per milliliter cream, a pretty large percentage, is Male Excel. Male Excel will give you cream. And they're pretty lenient on dosing. If you need to dose a lot of cream, they'll prescribe it to you, honestly. So those would be my, you know, my suggestions for cream. You know, get on the right amount of cream and you'll feel great. 2% cream, I'm not sure who the fuck would prescribe that, but that doesn't sound great. Otherwise, look into TRT Nation. I don't know if they have cream or not, but they'll certainly get you on a good level of testosterone, you know, or get the source list and take matters into your own fucking hands. You know, that's what you have to do sometimes, unfortunately. Dream big. Will a small dose of Cabergoline at 0.5 milligrams, 1x per week for 6 months on, 6 months off, downregulate dopamine receptors? Nope. Certainly won't. Even if you did it for 1 year straight, it wouldn't downregulate dopamine receptors. No. You need, you know, you need that plus, you know, what's the other hardcore dopamine agonist? I mean, you would need pharmaceutical levodopa, probably plus Cabergoline for a couple of years to start desensitizing the D2 receptors. So anybody that tells you that, you know, Mucuna or anything like, well, whatever, downregulates dopamine receptors doesn't know what they're talking about. They haven't studied it enough. They haven't themselves used any of these agents for consistent periods of time to really prove that or disprove that. It's all fucking hearsay. And I've seen the literature on downregulation of dopamine receptors relative to some hardcore dopamine drugs like this, but mainly levodopa in the context of Parkinson's, not like Cabergoline in the context of, you know, this minor usage or even a pituitary tumor. Nosy Blacklight, how fast do you see the Primo kick in? A day and a half, that day, very quickly. Primo lowers my estrogen a lot. I don't know how I'm so responsive to it. And I don't really like it because I would rather not lower the estrogen as much as Primo does because I want a higher dose of Primo, but fucking, I can't really take any more than 80 milligrams a week. Yeah. Even that 80 does wonders for my physique, but yeah. You aromatizing a lot for whatever reason might do really good on Primobolan, but right away. I mean, right away, dude. I had like gone lower. I had gone below my estrogen threshold, and I can tell because my dick got a little fucked up. Like the next day, or maybe it was that night, my morning wood or my nocturnal wood started suffering, and I'm like, oh fuck, you know, my dick is a little fucked up now. What happened? It was the fucking Primo, dude. But you know, it was just a lot for me at the time. I don't need a lot of that shit at all. Raw DH powder, does it raise or lower SHBG? Probably lower it a little bit, but in no way, shape, or form will it lower sex hormone binding globulin like Proviron does. Proviron lowers it more because it has a stronger binding affinity to it. Yeah, like Proviron has like, I forget what the number is, but there is a number on this, like some substantial times more affinity for the sex hormone binding globulin compared to regular DHT. I don't think DHT itself really messes with the SHBG all that much. Cerebral friction. Anyone know why Tutka is so expensive or body bio Tutka? Don't know. Tutka itself is not particularly cheap. Couldn't help you on this. Maurizio. Mozzarella. Hello, Maurizio. Good day, bro. Labs, estradiol 18, prolactin 7.8. All right, running 300 milligrams of test. 50 years old, 220 pounds, 10% body fat, asking for suggestions. Progested doses. Oh, for DHEA and pregnenolone. Run between 20 and 40 milligrams of DHEA per day and run 30 milligrams of pregnenolone per day. That's what I would do if I were you. Miko Biz is taking testosterone NFA 250 milligrams a week, and that's all. No HCG. And I think you were complaining of like some libido issues, was it? Yeah, at least bring HCG in the picture, man. Yeah, but again, you know, I mean, brother, if you need to talk to me like about this, super chat something significant so you can fit everything in and the whole context and everything. Otherwise, you know, book a consult. Darren, have you tried compounds like have I tried compounded sublingual PD5 inhibitors? Yeah, I did try tadalafil troches. They're pretty fucking effective, man. Yeah, that's another thing that's good about Defy Medical, who recently fucked up and I had to leave them. I have left Defy, guys. I've left Defy Medical. Long story, but they fucked up a couple things too consistently, and I don't deal with that kind of shit. You know, especially considering I've been promoting them for years on this channel that's got 80,000 views a month. Like, get the fuck out of here. So they had them and they were pretty effective. Trey, how many drinks do you stop at? This is a good question. For me these days, it's like the fourth or fifth drink is when I recognize that I'm going to feel suboptimal for 2 to 3 hours the next day. And like, I also don't like the feeling of being drunk, right? You know, like there was a point in my life where it's not that I liked it, but I was just used to it. It was in my bad relationship with my ex-girlfriend and we drank together. And yeah, I just don't like that feeling, you know? The things I like about booze are the social aspects, not necessarily the lubrication, but meeting people. Like I started drinking again probably about a month and a half ago and started hitting some local spots in Pittsburgh. And I met like 30 people altogether, you know, got some numbers, got some hooked up with some girls. Like, so I like all that, but I just don't like drinking past a threshold. And, you know, the hardest part about booze is it's hard to stop, especially when you start to feel good, but that's the point at which you really need to fucking stop. But then after 2 hours pass or whatever, and you eat something, you're going to feel better about yourself that you did that. You're sobering up. You're feeling fucking pretty normal. You have better sleep, no anxiety. You don't have acid reflux, whatever booze tends to do to you. Wakes you up at 5 a.m. and your fucking brain's going crazy. So for me, it's like the drink 5, the like beer 5 if I'm consistently drinking. Like if I'm at some local dive bar and, you know, I'm just staying there the whole time. Yeah, like beer 5 after a while. Hold on, guys. Stand by 1 second. I gotta tend to something. I might have to be back and forth because I got some people doing work outside that keep needing my help at my house. So I apologize for that if I need to jet here in a second or in a bit. Keep you guys posted. But yeah, it's 5 drinks if I'm drinking consistently. You know, if the drinks are spread out, and this is important, like over a 7-hour period, then I could probably get away with like 7 beers. But I gotta fucking stop there, you know. But these days I just don't like to do that. There might have been in my stint of drinking now, I remember like 3 times where I went to like 7 beers over like a long period of time. I didn't necessarily regret it, but again, I just, you know, this booze is a couple are fine, you know, any more than that, and it's just not great. Steve Wonderful switched to Ryan Root's clinic. Hopefully they are good. AB, do you find raw DHT gives you more of a calm feeling or excited feeling? It's kind of comparable to Proviron in that it's more like, it just gives you confidence, right? You just feel a little bit less in your head and more, you're just assertively doing your thing. I mean, DHT is the profoundly powerful masculine hormone, man. I mean, dude, it has so many effects on brain chemistry, likely dopamine, but it just gives you, you know, what you can only describe as like supreme male confidence. It's very fucking awesome. I think it's interacting with more systems than dopamine and GABA, though. I think it's interacting with probably every neurotransmitter possible, maybe even acetylcholine. Is Proviron worth it? It only has 3% bioavailability. You've probably been reading some Reddit posts or something of people that are making shit up. You know, we're looking at this as if it's a problem. That's why you take it, you know, basically every 12 hours or 24 hours. That's why it's in 25 milligram doses. It's very effective. Dream big, bro. Torque is great. Yes. I know. I never run out. I always have some. Yeah, it's one of the most powerful, like low-hanging fruit nootropics you could ever take. Torque. Oh, it's fucking so good. It's so good, man. But right, it doesn't make you feel as if you're cranked out of your mind. You just feel like you're yourself, but a much more optimized version of yourself with stimulatory accents. Like, it's fucking stimulating, man, but it doesn't feel like too much tyrosine or something, you know, which would make you feel pretty shitty because you're just overstimmed. Nosy Blacklight says, I can't find test cream anywhere, only gel that has 2% alcohol. Yeah, if you're looking UGL, cream is very hard to find. I don't think any of my sources have cream because, you know, cream is compounded in a pharmacy. That's why, you know, so you really have to go through a company to do this. Again, you can use Defy Medical or you can use Male Excel, and both of them have good creams. Male Excel actually has a really good cream, a really good potent cream. I used their cream years back and it was very effective. But no, there's no cream source because nobody makes that. You know, again, it's compounded at a pharmacy. AB, raw tea base and DMSO gel. All you need is a milligram scale and a container. Thai quadruple 4/4s. Proviron made me feel the best I have ever felt in my life. I might add it year round. And it's very low in toxicity. Doesn't have any toxicity or cycle off here and there. Proviron is the most worth it. How I felt. Absolutely. Oh yeah. Proviron is like, again, it just has this, you have to dose a lot of DHT itself to get that, like, Proviron like effect. It's very fucking potent. It just is supreme male confidence. You know, it's really great in that regard. It is unlike any anabolic in that regard too. No other anabolic I've taken makes me feel like that. And it is better than like any nootropic in that regard too. Yeah. I mean, yeah, dude, the confidence is insane. But also Proviron, I believe, is studied as an antidepressant. I believe there's like some papers on that about Misterolone's antidepressant action or its effect. And it totally does that for me too. I mean, the shit's fucking awesome. I'm gonna have to tend to these guys again. Well, they can fuck off unless they absolutely need me. I got some people working on my house. Dream big, finding more anecdotes of people liking Test E better than Test C. Told you. When having to pin long ester, why is this? I think it's just a little quicker acting is why. You know, it acts relatively quickly. It clears the system a little, faster. And I honestly think it feels better. Like Cypionate, I don't want to say I feel like garbage on Cypionate because I can make it work, but I don't feel the best on that stuff. You know, I just think it's too long, too slow, sticks around too fucking often. You know, you probably have more hematocrit problems on it versus testosterone enanthate, and definitely versus testosterone propionate or cream. So I think it's just because of the half-life. It's just too fucking long and it doesn't go anywhere. It's just your constant test around. At least you have some degree of peak and trough when using enanthate, and more so with proper cream. Delindo had some issues with Defy back in 2014. Couldn't get me dialed in. The nurse practitioner's response was, well, maybe hormone replacement isn't for you. Yeah. And, you know, that's the thing. I mean, especially if you get a woman there, first of all, you don't want to be a guy working with a woman in this context. But secondly, I found like one guy there. I'm sure there are others, but there's one guy named Michael. If you're going to go to Defy, have Michael as your guy who is interested in dialing you in and is interested in like listening to your goals and seeing how they can tailor, you know, basically the purchase of products. So they want to sell products to hit your goals. And so, you know, but like they made a couple critical mistakes, not the least of which is Empower stopped making Prop and they told nobody about it, even people that were prescribed it like me. You know, then they're like, oh, the SIP Prop blend is the only other, like as if that's akin to propionate. It's not. So yeah, they did a couple other things that I won't mention, probably for their fucking sake, that I had to leave them. I left Defy Medical, boys. I left them out of here. You know, I'm just running pharmaceutical grade UGL tests right now. So, you know, among other things, HCG, obviously, Proviron. I'm running Proviron again at 25 a day. Okay. Rogue Trader with a super chat. Thank you, brother. Can turmeric cause post-finasteride syndrome? I'm experiencing all of a sudden loss of libido and sensation issues after taking extra strength turmeric. Started Proviron and HCG Cialis doesn't work. Well, it is a 5-AR inhibitor, so possibly. I would wager that you maybe had a 5-AR inhibitor in your past, another one in your past, and that could be contributing to this problem here. But in and of itself, it shouldn't. Like, my guess is you're sensitive to the inhibition of DHT from something you might have taken in the past, is what my guess would be. Or you already had chronically or like very close to catastrophically low levels of androgens. And, you know, this just tipped the scales negatively. But ultimately, you know, turmeric is a 5-AR inhibitor. Yeah, it is. The degree of potency, I don't think that's been studied that much. So, you know, but if it's happening to you, I mean, you have to get a hormone panel and go from there. You probably should at this point, if you've got sensation problems and a loss of libido, you should just get on TRT. HCG at the very least, you know, but ultimately TRT, man. So the answer is yes, it probably can. But again, that in my eyes, that is likely because something else you've been taking or took in the past fucked with this shit, or your hormone levels are already too fucking low and you've got to get to the bottom of that ASAP. The Officer John show. Other than testosterone, do you think EQ, Deca, Primo, and Masteron are the safest anabolics? The safest anabolics other than testosterone, in my opinion, would be Primobolan first, Masteron second, Deca second as well. I think it's probably tied. EQ lowers estrogen a lot for people and tends to fuck with people. So I mean, I don't know where I would place that. Quite honestly, man. Proviron is not an anabolic, but it is. It's not very anabolic, but it is an anabolic agent. And I would say that that's like, you know, right up there with testosterone in terms of safety. I'm not sure what you're referring to, AB. PBB. Hey, Ryan, do you know a potent natural aromatase inhibitor? Well, the literature says chrysin would be your best bet. Compound called chrysin, CHRYSIN, chrysin. Now, there's also a little conflicting literature on that, in that it's not really been tested in humans, I think, outside of a petri dish. I'm not really sure. Like, just in this context of needing to lower estrogen when it's too high from TRT or something, it's really not been tested. You know, there are people on Reddit that say it works for them, and then there are other people that say it did nothing. Just like everything else, like CDG and zinc and whatever. You know, it's all situationally dependent. I would say your best bet is to use chrysin. Zinc itself will inhibit aromatase to some marginal capacity. And other than that, in terms of efficacy, bro, I mean, there's some red wines that have some flavonoids in them that inhibit aromatase. Yeah, those are the things that you're looking at for actual aromatase inhibitors that are natural. Chrysin and zinc. Joe Farhat, which do you prefer or think it's better, Sandra P5P? In terms of lowering prolactin, you need more Shisandra to reach what would be like 200 milligrams of P5P, the effect of that. And by more, I mean you need to take like 3 grams. So it is effective, but you have to take a lot of it. P5P, in addition to taking P5P and calcium D-glucarate, strategically dose while on TRT to keep estrogen at bay. Good. Hi, brother. Good job. Have a nice day, bro. I mean, you know, word that a little differently, dude. Joey, what's your opinion on using Sustanon for TRT? Sustanon can work for some people. You know, they get that boost from the short-acting stuff, and they have the stability from the long-acting stuff. I don't think it's terrible. I know it works for some people. Nosy Blacklight. Is Primo similar to Proviron DHT in terms of libido and mental effects? No. Nope. These are 3 different, you know, completely different compounds that do different things. But just because they have the vague classification of a DHT derivative or DHT itself in this case, like, doesn't mean they're similar. Proviron is an AI. It modifies fucking androgen receptor binding domains, dramatically, you know, lowers the sex hormone binding globulin, or can. Primo will lower SHBG too, but I think there's a conversion to an intermediary, which that intermediary becomes an aromatase inhibitor or is an AI. So that's a different mechanism than Proviron. So it's completely different. And then Primo lowers E2 in me personally more than Proviron does. So that actually fucks with my libido if it lowers it too much. So no, they're not the same. Definitely not. Definitely not. Revisi. I'm on Proviron and don't feel anything. 12.5, 2 times a day. I may have PSSD. I just have a lack of mental libido, not boners. Okay, so you have the erections, but you don't have the mental libido. Yeah, I can't help you here, man. You know, without the context of this situation, I can't help you. You know, you may have PSSD. Did you take an SSRI or didn't you? Are you on TRT or not? What are your testosterone levels? What is your estradiol? What is your prolactin? What is your DHT? You need to include context if you want me to help you, brother. You know, just saying I took Proviron, that's assuming like I can take some pill and it's going to fix my problem. Well, you don't understand your physiology and you need to, bro. Need to. Nuance, man. I've spent 8 years talking about, you know, this shit from a nuanced perspective, and yet people still think, oh, I take this, I get that. You know, dive a little deeper into it. A little deeper. Yes, PSSD is an endocrine issue. It is not a neurological issue, and dopamine will not fix the problem. Steve, wonderful. I'm on 70 of Cypionate twice a week. And Roots Clinic looks like added 1 click of cream twice a day. Libido has improved a lot. It's only been 3 weeks. Oh, that's great. So, you know, what you have here is you have this stable level, you know, of testosterone via that Cypionate. You know, every 3.5 days of 70 milligrams is going to keep your levels pretty stable. I would wager you'd probably be about 800, 900 nanograms per deciliter with that. And then a click of cream in the morning and the evening. Well, that's like a hack, right? Then you're on top of your stable levels. You're just boosting. You're having this surge of hormones. Test, estradiol, DHT, mostly test and DHT though. Twice a day, which is very fucking cool. You know, like, you know, that if this is what you needed to help libido problems, then boom, you know, boom. You could work that Cypionate, I bet, to fix this issue, but don't fix it if it isn't broken now that it's better. That's great. I would definitely do that. Context matters, brethrens. It does though. Rivsy, what does endocrine issue mean and can it be reversed? It means that you have a problem with the, you know, with sex hormones and sex hormone responsive tissues, and that those tissues atrophy and start malfunctioning when they're not, you know, bound to by, in this case, androgens. You know, it's called androgen deprivation and it causes all kinds of fucking problems. AB in general, I seem to prefer test base over any esterified test. Feels much cleaner and much fewer side effects. Yeah, this isn't entirely uncommon. You know, esters, you know, dude, I mean, like, again, we've talked about how cypionate's kind of a trash, a trash ester. Like, I mean, yeah, people do differently on like different administrations of testosterone, like how the test metabolizes dramatically affects your response to the test. I mean, fucking totally. So this isn't, this isn't uncommon or surprising to me, man. I mean, this kind of shit does happen. You mean test no ester? Is that what you're using? If so, awesome, bro. That's pretty fucking bold. Thought some modafinil in the libido can help. Ultimately, it'll probably be like not a sustainable help. Yeah, it's just going to add some of that dopamine like stuff happening in the brain because it's a dopamine reuptake inhibitor. Probably the long term would be harmful for libido. Yeah, because you'd be ceasing you'd be somewhat inhibiting the projection and the creation of dopamine because your brain goes, I have enough, via all this dopamine that's sitting around in the synaptic area of the brain. Maurizio, if my prolactin is 7.8 and I want to run cab 0.25 recreationally, how much will it lower prolactin? At 7.8, if you run 0.25 twice a week, it will likely take it down to 1.5. After about a month and a half, 2 months, you'll be bottomed out. Now that isn't necessarily bad. Would 0 be bad? You probably don't want to do that. Yeah, but that's what you're looking at. Yeah, valproate is not necessarily the solution to these problems. That assumes it's a genetic problem. Reals well. Do I think raw DHT powder is better substitute to dihydroboldenone for people healing from PFS, PLMS? Seeing DHB can raise kidney and liver marks. Do I think DHT powder is better? Probably. Although, so I would say probably, but I've never used DHB with clients. That's, it's just there's side effects associated with it, and there's a lot of shit that can go fucking wrong with it, including these things that have steered me away from it. But so I couldn't say if DHT itself is better because I haven't used DHB. My sense is that DHT itself is better. That's my sense. Yeah. Steve Strong wants to try some Marijuana. Do you think a starting dose? I forget the recommended doses of that. Yeah, Marijuana is a dopaminergic. Basically, it's a dopaminergic compound that you can take and get at. You can get that shit on Amazon. It is pretty heavily dopamine centered and can help some people's libidos in certain situations. Opinions on why people try to claim that vaping is okay because they aren't smoking tobacco or marijuana. Well, the reason they're saying that is because in terms of a harm reduction perspective, vaping is better. Yeah. I mean, there's been studies on this. Like you're not fucking with your red blood cells as much or at all if you're vaping. I mean, the chemical load in a cigarette is, I don't even know what the number is up to these days, but it's substantial. And you get little to no tar when you vape. Whereas if you're smoking tobacco, you're getting a substantial amount of tar. So these guys' position on this is actually warranted and backed up in the literature. It's been studied before. Yes, that's why they have those opinions. Now, is vaping nicotine good? No, I can't see it being healthy, but I think it's profoundly less unhealthy than smoking cigarettes, or smoking cigars, or smoking black and milds or whatever. PBB, best natural drug, best natural PD5 inhibitor. Oh, to stay longer in bed. I don't think you want to mess with that, man. Yeah, because you'd have to increase prolactin to do that, and then it'll take you forever to come. Which I'm telling you, you think people like that. Now, look, a woman doesn't want you to climax in 3 minutes, obviously, but they don't want you taking an hour, dude. That's happened to me before when estrogen was too high or whatever. I've done all kinds of shit, and fucked up my, my hormone balance like countless fucking times, and it messes things up downstream. Eventually, the girl's going to be like, it's me that you can't come because it's me. And it's not her at all. It is fucking your shit being jacked up. So they hate that. They hate it. You know, they like a good half hour. That's what they like. A good solid half hour, you know, just getting it fucking done, hitting all the areas, maybe 40 minutes, you know, and even 40 minutes starts pushing it for some girls. But that's the good window. You want 25 to 40 minutes of just rocking her fucking shit, dude. You know, after which, like, she's done, especially if you're doing a good job. She's done. You know, it just gets to the point. And then if you can't come, it's even worse. And then she thinks it's her. So I can't help you there, man. I don't think you should try doing that. P.S. Well, is asking for a supplement to upregulate dopamine D2 receptors to cure anhedonia. This is so loaded that it's ridiculous, dude. You think that downregulated dopamine D2 receptors are the cause of anhedonia is what you're saying. And it is not. Time to hit the books again, brother. Back to square one. It's not dopamine D2 receptors. You can't even downregulate them without the use of levodopa. So don't know where you think. Just get off the internet with that shit. You know that you're reading that stuff on the web and it's not helping you. Respect, brethren. Thank you though, honestly, brother. Yeah, I've had a lot of guys fucking in tears, you know, over Skype calls, and it makes me upset. And you know, I don't like to see men struggling. They do with especially PFS and PSSD, or sexual dysfunction of unknown cause, of the cause of androgen deprivation. And it's like it's one of the things that, you know, your manhood is so jeopardized when you can't perform sexually. So, you know, that's one of the reasons I do a lot of this stuff, or at least the PFS, PSSD stuff, and am the #1 sexual dysfunction guy to go to. Like, you know, people on androgens, people after running steroid cycles, you know, I get a lot of those kind of guys. AB, what did you find the best dose of DHT? 30 to 50 milligrams a day. Yeah, that just is perfect for me. I don't even get hair loss from it. No fucking hair loss, dude. Look at that shit. Look at this shit. And I've been taking DHT for 2 to 3 months. Now I'm on Proviron. I've backed off the DHT because I'm taking Proviron right now. I'm running 700 milligrams of test a week, you know. Yeah, man. I'm going boulder shoulder territory. We'll see how long I can get away with it. I'm actually kind of just in between shit. I don't know. I might go back to prop. I really don't know what I'm going to be doing, but for right now, I'm just running 100 of anything a day. Feels pretty badass. Gonna have to go run lipids, liver enzymes, hematocrit very soon. So we'll see what the fuck all that says. But so far, I feel really good running 25 of Proviron a day. So I'm not running the DHT, but 30 to 50 milligrams is the answer. Yeah, 180. Little low estrogen side effects, insane sexual function, 200, insane sexual function, low estrogen side effects. Yeah. Christopher, have you tried the gel from the source list? No. Or has anyone tried in the chat? I might give it a try. Thank you, brethren. I don't, I did see it on, I know which vendor you're talking about. I imagine it's fine, but testosterone gel is usually just a lot less efficient than, first of all, testosterone cream and injections, you know. But there's also a number of people, probably an innumerable amount of people, defined by my inability to count them, or anyone's inability to count them, that get a pretty great response from taking testosterone gel. I've seen them. You know, I've seen them. Thank you, though, brethren. AB, I look forward to these live events every week. You're really doing a really number for the community. Appreciate it, brother. I'm happy that you're here, man. Opinion on Winstrol, not a whole lot. I know a lot of people with some pretty achy joints from taking that, you know, and some pretty terrible moods and just feeling generally like shit, but they look great. They look great. Yeah, so it's not something I would ever get into personally, I don't think, you know, because I'm not a bodybuilder, don't intend to be, and am not coaching anyone on specifically like prep for a show. So wouldn't be something I you know, get into. Okay, strongest and more available in the market thing I can do for increasing tests without directly injecting it. HCG would be the answer. If you want that DHT like look, Proviron. You can get away with HCG and Proviron, but you'd have to run pretty high dose HCG, 2,000, 3,000 IUs a week, maybe more. and then 12.5 to 25 milligrams Proviron a day. Yeah. Darren, would you agree that abstaining or NoFap doesn't actually increase libido, but instead just makes you match your baseline low libido, if you get what I mean? No, there's only one thing that, abstaining or NoFap does, and it prevents you from continuously releasing prolactin, which allows the luteinizing hormone, therefore, to function normally. The reason that people get, again, I've said this 100 times, but the reason that people get benefit from going NoFap or whatever that they do these large, complex, super fucking convoluted forums about on Reddit is because they were jerking off 3 to 4 times a day to porn. And it's not even the porn that is the problem. It's the climax. Therefore, climaxing, increasing prolactin fucking chronically, which inhibits gonadotropins, which inhibits Leydig synthesis of testosterone. That's the mechanism of NoFap, people getting help from NoFap. So, no, I think it has nothing to do with this here. I think that, when people do that, they give their testosterone a chance to recover. Yes, I have reversed PSSD without doing the Russo protocol. Yeah. It's usually just hormones, but it's so variable in that, like, these situations are extreme and might require cycle levels of testosterone with estrogen control, HCG and DHT and pregnenolone. They're all, these days they're all requiring, especially because we have access to it, DHT. So yeah, no, you don't need to be doing whatever Russo did. I just, I think there might be stuff here that we don't know about that situation. So, like specifically what caused it. I don't think it was exclusively lion's mane is what I'm saying. Mr. Garmus, Proviron makes me feel better by lowering SHBG. If yes, then Primo should too. Well, no, Primo's going to lower estrogen a little more than Proviron. So again, these things are different. You can't be conflating them because they generally have this somewhat similar mechanism. Primo does lower SHBG, yes. I don't know if it'll lower to the extent Proviron does, because Proviron's very good at that. Primo's going to lower the estrogen, pretty significantly. And yeah, that's it. And you're feeling better from Proviron, not because exclusively the increase in free hormones, but also it's fucking helping your ARs work better. Yeah, it's helping the androgen receptors work better. So that's probably the mechanism for this. In that case, Primo wouldn't do that. Nosy Blacklight, thoughts on DHT gel versus making your own with raw DHT? I think both are fine. Like, the difference with you making your own at home is that you can chat GPT the concentration you want, and it'll tell you of your aloe vera, of your DHT powder, of your DMSO, what concentrations to put in a pan and stir and whatever, and get in a glass jar and, stir it and make sure it all dissolves to reach a higher percentage DHT gel than Andractin, which I think is 2.5 or 3%. I think it's 2.5. So, you could reach a 5% DHT gel or a 10% DHT gel. Asking Chat GPT how exactly to do that with DMSO, aloe vera, and raw DHT. So it would be better in this case if you want more DHT per application to do it yourself. Because, medically available or whatever available, you can only get Andractin, which is 2.5%, I'm pretty sure. Joe Farhad, is taking Shasandra and calcium D-glucarate a good idea to keep estrogen and prolactin low? Thanks. Yeah, sure. I think so. Definitely. It's a low-hanging fruit. Calcium D-glucarate you'd have to dose every day. So just keep that in mind. It's not going to lower the serum all that much. It just kind of helps you clear estrogens faster from your body. Shasandra, again, 2 to 3 grams a day is probably the best prolactin lowering effect you're going to get. 900 a day really isn't going to do it, I don't think, all that much. So you want to keep that in mind, which means you're going to have to buy a lot of Shasandra each re-up. And it's not very expensive, but it might be a pain in the ass to have to we'll just put it on reorder on Amazon if you're going to do that. Definitely. I am Darrain. I'm taking 60 milligrams test prop every other day. Was feeling it for about a month. Now it's just normal. What do you say about increasing the dose? Well, what do you mean by feeling it? Meaning you felt energized or whatever? Look, if you have some stimulant input and prop is very stimulating, usually the brain has a homeostatic downregulatory response to that in a way which will just somehow like pump the brakes a little bit on that stimulatory response. So that's not a bad thing. You know, you don't always want to feel like that. If you're starting to feel tired or something now, well, something else is going on. It's not just that you're used to this dose of prop now. Something else is going on. But if you jumped from cypionate to prop, well, then you maybe had some cypionate in your system for a while. And now it's all out, and maybe you need more prop, you know? What do I think about increasing the dose in any context? It's not a bad idea. You know, test prop is one of the best things we have available to us, period. And it's in source lists. Plenty of sources for fucking high quality prop are in source list. So it might be something for you to think about. Rather. Yeah, increase the dose, man. But you got to look at what exactly is happening here and try to get to the bottom of that. Any new research cams? No, nothing really. I'm not into research cams anymore. I've been getting a lot of, questions about why I don't talk about nootropics anymore. Lots, man. I mean, I finally had to admit that so many people are using, I've been seeing it over the years. People are using nootropics to band-aid shit they need to be working on, And so morally, I kind of was like, I can't even suggest that anymore. Like, I just found myself more and more going, okay, yeah, you can use this nootropic for that, but like, why are you having fatigue at 3 p.m., or fatigue all fucking day, or this headache thing or whatever, why are you having a lack of libido? Like, it just, you got to get to the bottom of these things. So, nootropics are useful so long as you're an optimized motherfucker. Then they're insane. Like, they're just better. They're just much better. Then you're like, you take this optimized baseline and take a good nootropic on top of it, and you're an animal. Like this stuff, R-Stack, Torque. If you get your health and your body straight and then you take Torque, forget it. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you're getting way more done than your counterparts, peers, etc. You're getting fucking more done than your previous self. If you're somebody that works and has a job, whether in corporate or you're an auto mechanic, you're going to feel better, function better, etc. But having the baseline be great and then adding nootropics on top of it is really great. Lastly, though, the nootropics, folks, because of this like tendency to want to paint over dirt with nootropics, these people were just like, yeah, they bought product, but a lot of the strictly nootropics folks I found were just like, I don't know, just kind of freeloaders. So just consume my content, critique it or whatever, but not offer anything. Like, yeah, it was just a weird industry to be in. Plus, at this point, hormones specifically, it's my life. It's my fucking life. Best strategy to lower estrogen if SHBG is already low. I mean, just take an AI, take chrysin or take some zinc. Yeah. SHBG being low, that's not going to really change the efficacy of aromatase inhibitors or whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean that your estrogen is low. You can have 10 SHBG and 77 estradiol. Dream big. Found some people saying Cabergoline alone without an anti-estrogen brought down their estradiol a little bit. Could this be true? I don't see a mechanism for that. I'm not leaving it out of the realm of possibility. I don't know how that would be though. Because I mean, it's a serotonin 5-HT series blocker and a dopamine D2 receptor agonist. So, like, how would that lower estrogen? I don't really know. If enough people are saying it, there's got to be some degree of credence to it, but I wouldn't really think the mechanism. I don't know what the mechanism would be, nor would I think this would be some profound difference. Yeah, definitely not. Why do I think Andrew standalone isn't more popular? So there used to be 10 to... Don't know. It's a good question, though. It's a good fucking question. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be wonderful if it was. It'd be great if you could get that. Like DHT, that's like DHT pills, basically. Darren, are you satisfied of the elections? Very, very satisfied. There's a movie, who is it? Oh, it's Training Day, where the guys at like somewhat toward the end when, Denzel Washington's character and his 4 other corrupt ass fucking cops are doing this job, and they kill one of their friends, and they ultimately end up taking all his money. And, one guy has a moral qualm about it, and then they all look at each other and go, "Do you have a moral qualm with this?" "No." "You have a moral qualm?" And the one guy goes, I'm very satisfied. I'm very satisfied with it. I'm very comfortable with this. So very fucking comfortable. A lot of people don't recognize that as a country via the Democrat Party, we've been captured. We've actually been fucking captured. I myself, countless other probably tens of thousands of people have been censored off the fucking internet for having our opinions. Remember COVID, right? If you said that, you know, this originated from a level 4 biolab in Wuhan, you were banned off the fucking internet. You know, who's the fascist? You know what regimes ban people off, you know, and fucking censor speech? Fascist regimes. You never see a conservative doing that, you know, or fucking libertarian doing that. It was all left-wing people within old school Twitter, obviously Facebook, you know, YouTube, etc. So yes, I'm as a combat vet, you know, where's my uniform? Oh, it's over there. That served in fucking Iraq. Yeah, I fought for people's ability to have speech and have it not be censored. Yes, I'm happy with the fucking outcome, and everybody should be too. But the problem is people are programmed with fucking horse shit. You know, a lot of it is young, naive people, but there's also older 45 to 60-year-old naive people as well, you know, juvenile-minded people that, like, instead of having a complex, nuanced understanding of politics and policy, etc., they run off of this very low information baseline built by sound bites that come out of the spigot of the mainstream press, which, by the way, is colluding with the DNC. So it's shit that, you know, like, okay, and there's so many other reasons to have voted for Trump. People are like, oh, women, you know, for abortion's sake. Okay, so you work so hard to get out of the kitchen to vote for inflation. Like, you can dismantle the argument in a fucking 100 different ways. I'm very satisfied with the outcome of the election. Very satisfied. As somebody who values freedom of speech, you know, who values a competent executor at the position of commander-in-chief, definitely. Trey, with the $5 super chat. I really want to get on HRT Plus. Only thing holding me back is I want to have kids. Dude, you could have kids while on TRT just using HCG, man. Yeah, and if that didn't work, which it would, yeah, I mean, dude, there's people that have had kids on just TRT and no HCG. I don't know how the fuck they did that, but I guess they weren't completely shut down. But I mean, if you're just on HCG, you'll almost definitely get a girl pregnant. Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, get your wife pregnant. Yeah. I mean, unless you just abused steroids for years, then yes, you know, you'll almost definitely get a woman pregnant in that case. But you know, there's also things you could add that increase fertility. Proviron improves fertility. Yes, it does. It does. Recombinant FSH, which you can get on the source list, improves fertility. So I think you'll be just fine. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I've been on TRT and now I'm running 700 milligrams a week of testosterone and running a lot of HCG. If I was having sex with a 26-year-old, I would not fucking, you know, I would not let it loose in that woman's body, man, because I fucking know. I mean, you know, I know my testicles are functional, like, for sure. Especially if she was fertile, I'd get her pregnant. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, man. I would take HCG the entire time, though. That's what I would do if I were you. Yeah. Do I find sexual benefits of blocking serotonin receptors? They're transient and marginal, but yes. Yeah, that happens via, it basically makes dopamine work better in the interim, you know, the short term. That's where sexual optimization stuff happens from blocking serotonin receptors. There's also a mechanism by which I think luteinizing hormone gets some sort of upgrade if you block certain serotonin receptors. Yeah. What is the mechanism of action that minoxidil can harm sexual function? Even though it's touted as a non-systemic or topical 5-AR inhibitor, there is a distinction. There's a reason that topical or a way in which topical DHT inhibitors or 5-AR inhibitors can go systemic. And I believe it has to do with the weight of the compound on the scalp. There's some more detailed sciencey explanation for it. But ultimately, you go systemic and you inhibit systemic 5-alpha reductase, which not only inhibits DHT conversion, but all like neurosteroids and a fucking other downstream shit in the brain. So that's the reason. You get systemic DHT inhibition. To the extent that finasteride induces, probably not. To enough of an extent where it can be problematic, I have proof. I have clients, one new recent client that just jumped on board. Full-blown PFS, only took Rogaine. That's minoxidil. Preach! H, brethren. Dream big. Cabergoline can block some serotonin. Yes, 5-HT2B or 5-HT2C receptor. Yep. Pleasure, brother. Pleasure. Zachary, test cream at night or dose in the morning? Well, probably the most optimal way to dose test cream would be, to prevent, oh man, I had a load of acne, which I'm still trying to get rid of on my arms from cream, a lot of cream, because I was running it 5 pumps in the morning, 2 pumps at 2 p.m. The best way to run cream to prevent that would be 3 pumps in the morning, 3 pumps at 5 or 6 p.m. If you can keep your levels as stable as possible with cream, that's probably the best thing to do. Yeah, that's what I would say. But, just doing your full-on injection or application at night also has benefits too. You probably get more nocturnal and morning wood if you inject testosterone at night than in the morning. I think you're just peaking, more right around that time if you do that. So that's something to say. Glycine, this is a good question. Where's this? Will glycine increase DHT? Something tells me you've been in the scientific literature, my friend. Yeah, glycine has the ability to upregulate 5-alpha reductase activity. So probably. Yeah, boys, take heed from this guy. This guy's been reading. AB with a big super chat. Thank you, brother. So would prolonged use of a low dose serotonin antagonist alongside working on dopamine system and pushing test DHT eventually give you the good feel, sex drive, chat status? Well, see what you're doing. I mean, yes, probably. But what you're doing here is you're trying to hack sexual function. And the main hack you're doing is running the serotonin antagonist. You don't have to run a serotonin antagonist to get good sexual function, to get chat status, Yeah. But I think it would help. But there's also, there are negatives to inhibiting serotonin receptors, but not the least of which is it isn't good for your heart long term. Yeah. There's some sort of complex interplay with the cardiac muscle and the inhibition of some serotonin receptors, the 2 series. So it's not something that I would do, to try to reach chat status. Chat status would be TRT, HCG, the right doses, the right estrogen control, or not. Some people don't have to. Maybe DHT derivative, but then Proviron. Proviron. That'd be my honestly the best stack for fucking chat status. Seriously. You can work on the dopaminergic system though with simple compounds like teacrine and mecunapurines. Those are the lowest hanging fruit and probably the safest, best ways to increase dopamine and then release it in the order of mecunapurines and teacrine respectively. So yeah. But yes, almost definitely if you want chat status, the androgens are so fucking important for that, especially DHT. MJ loves test prop, but gets an unbearable post-injection pain. First of all, you're probably injecting it sub-Q. If you are, stop doing that and inject it intramuscularly. If you are injecting IM and you're still getting PIP, inject in the glutes and you'll have less, or the ventral glutes and you'll have substantially less. Lastly, though, just put the test prop in warm water when you wake up or when you inject for 5 minutes. Yeah, that will help a lot with post-injection pain. Lastly, you will get used to it over time and you'll stop having PIP. Yeah, to some large extent. It might be a little tender still, no matter what, but over time, you're going to have less PIP. I barely have PIP if I inject prop. Haven't injected it in a while, but last time I was running a lot of prop, I didn't really have PIP, but I was injecting exclusively in the glute, I think. I'll get a dull Charlie horse kind of pip in my delt if I fucking inject a lot of prop, over 50 milligrams. Ramiel, thank you for your service. You got it, brother. Upping the testosterone dose, it works. Do you have to up the testosterone over time? Do the dose of testosterone over time? Do receptors need a reset? I don't think there's any, receptor tolerance to testosterone. You end up making more ARs the more testosterone you have. So that might mean you know, for some transient period, your body doesn't feel like you're getting enough testosterone or something. But I don't think that receptors need a reset. I think it's possible that like binding domains can go awry, but there's no proof of that. So upping the dose, what I have found, look, I went from TRT doses to fucking cycle doses to a mega cycle. Well, it's 700 milligrams a week in testosterone, which is what I'm running right now. And yeah, I mean, I've only felt a more pronounced androgenic effect and anabolic effect from doing that. And no down regulatory effect, no tolerance to the testosterone. If anything, the tolerance that's happened is I can tolerate more. I don't have side effects, you know, as I used to years ago, just dosing 200 or something, you know. I have all kinds of side effects, but I did a lot on my health, doing cardio and a lot of supplementation of shit. And I quit drinking for 3 fucking years, you know. A lot of contributors. Best and safest way to improve DHT for sexual function would be, and you're not going to do this with supplements, man. You know, quite honestly, it would be to either use some HCG, or inject testosterone. That'd be the best way. I've not injected or experimented with either of these. Do you lose ARs if testosterone levels drop? I imagine that there may be some degree of reduction in androgen receptors when there is not a lot of testosterone around. Yes, I imagine. Top 3 rock bands? Okay. Kill Switch Engaged. Sepultura. Only fucking old school people or metal people will know Sepultura. And these are largely metal bands, not rock bands. I don't really like rock all that much. Last rock band or metal band. Fuck, man. I don't know, man. I mean, I have to go back to Metallica, quite honestly. I'd have to just go back to Metallica. And there are some new bands. I can't think of their names, though, right now. Newer bands. What am I doing to manage estrogen? 25 milligrams of zinc a day and 25 milligrams Proviron a day right now. I'm on a load of tests. And, you know, I don't need very low estrogen on high tests. I need to be 45, 65. I can get away with that. If I'm at 90, it's not a huge issue. But again, some things start to go mildly wrong and they're not as optimal as they could be. But there's going to be a time soon, I'm sure, I'm just going to have to throw down 6.25 or 12.5 milligrams of Aromacin. Yeah, on this, if I wasn't taking Proviron on 700 milligrams of Test E a week, I would just run 6.25 or 12.5 of Aromacin once a week. I would definitely have to. But, you know, the Proviron provides a degree of blockage of some of that conversion to estradiol, and the zinc does as well. So right now it's working fine, but I've only been a week on 700 right now. So MJ started finasteride 4 weeks ago. You guys already know my answer to this, right? Wait for it. And libido is not the same. Not so easy to get an erection. 1 milligram a day. Lower the dose? No. Get the fuck off of it and run as far away from it as you can for the rest of your life and never touch it again. And fucking smack yourself for ever thinking that this was a safe drug to take. We've been over this. I've done a documentary on it. I've proven Hair Cafe wrong scientifically. You don't want to touch it. That's your answer. Brethren. Yeah, Kill Switch Engage is a fucking killer, man. My Curse is also a great song. 300 milligrams caffeine pre-workout. With that, you're pushing heavy weights, bro. You are running reps, brethren. Best way to run HCG. By itself, monotherapy, 2,000 to 3,000 IU a week, injected every other day. You know, inject whatever that amount would be, broken down to every other day, and run it in your stomach, your belly fat. Zachary Chase, when adding pregnenolone DHEA, do you need to tweak your TRT dose? No, I don't think so. You might need to tweak estrogen control. Yeah. You want to go in the order of, like, you don't want to decrease your testosterone, you know, if you're having estrogen problems. That is a Reddit, you know, it's like a strategy perpetuated largely on Reddit. I don't think you want to do that. because you might be at the level of testosterone that your dick needs to synthesize nitric oxide, you know, like, or whatever your body needs to be strong, or whatever, you know, symptom resolution you're trying to get. You more have to just focus on adequate estrogen control. You know, maybe increase the AI, bring a DHT derivative in the picture. You know, those kinds. Add some zinc to your aromatase inhibitor and don't touch the AI dose. That will make it work more effectively. That's in the literature as well. So yeah, the order would definitely not be to decrease the dose. It'd be to keep the doses high if you're bringing these stuff in, and they might increase estrogen. Like DHEA will increase estrogen a little bit, HCG as well. Definitely. So, you know, just have a better strategy to manage estrogen. Can 90BBC crash me on PSSD? All manner of things are going to crash you, and it's going to make you think that dopamine is the issue, or that dopamine is the good thing, or that, you know, whatever. It's largely all red herrings. You know, you're going to get crashed one way or the other from all manner of shit, including supplements. And don't give that much thought. Yeah, because it's all going to be red herrings, and it'll take you down rabbit holes of, oh, maybe it's the, you know, like the serotonin 5-HT1A autoreceptor that I need to downregulate. Yeah, it's an endocrine hormone problem. That is it, boys. All right, gents, great fucking questions. I'm going to end the stream. I got to jet and deal with these people at my house. I've like ignored them for the last hour. I'm sure they needed me, but I really don't give a fuck. This is more important, brethren. Source list is live now, livecortex.com. Please go buy it if you want sources for DHT, Proviron, oral DHT, Androgen gel, test of any ester, HCG, Cialis. You know, I recently just purchased, what did I get? 50 milligrams, 50 tabs of 20 milligram actual Cialis. Fucking super thrilled, man. So you can get that in the description of this video at livecortex.com. Guys, much more content coming this week. Obviously, I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the time that you guys have taken to be here. Again, regarding the elections, yeah, I'm happy that we've got our fucking country back. We'll have full control to be able to actually execute policy in a way that makes sense without any inhibition. I'm very happy about the outcome of the election. You know, this is a huge win for America. So enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll see you on Monday, brethren.